Coming up on Theater Talk.
And Louis, when did you become a multimillionaire?
It was when I began my first heroin sales.
Oh, no,
I was
no,
able to set
no,
up something
no,
in my
no,
apartment.
no,
and,
no.
And then we put on small shows, puppet
You
shows.
took the drug money, invested it into show business. That's
Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation. From New York City, this is Theater Talk. I'm producer Susan Haskins.
And I'm Michael Riedel of the New York Post. Now, Susan, you and I have some favorite guests over the years. We love to have Tim Rice on, and Elaine Stritch, and Frank Langella. And we're very happy that we brought two of our favorite guests, really, of all time back, who made us laugh so hard a couple of years ago.
Of all time?
They are two of the funniest people on the planet. We want to welcome back to Theater Talk the great Nancy Giles.
Oh, my goodness.
And the equally great Louis Black. Welcome, welcome back. And Louis is here to flog a play that I know he's trying to bring to New York, and he thinks by being on this show,
Yeah, this will
you're going to
turn
get
it
some
around.
backers. Is that what's going to happen
This will
here?
flip it all around.
The play is called
They're racing to the phones as I speak.
They don't even know the title yet.
No, they don't have to know the title.
Just that you're involved. That's enough.
That's it. It's called One Slight Hitch. I think it begins in Seattle, and you're trying to get it here to the St. George?
Well, it comes to the George Street Theater.
George Street
We do it in June in Seattle at the A Contemporary Theater.
Right.
And then it goes to the George Street. It's supposed to open there. It'll open there in October.
Right, that's enough for the plugs because we want to get to some jokes here. I want to ask you guys something. We had our old friend Rob Bartlett, who's also a comedian and on the Imus show, on not too long ago. And Rob does a lot of Broadway shows, and he told me when he was growing up that he just dreamed of being an actor and being on Broadway, and that he fell into comedy because he had to make a living and the acting career wasn't taking off. And I want to ask you guys, because I know you both have theater background, that must have been what you really wanted to do. And you must have a Lady Macbeth in you, you must have a Hamlet in you, and here you are on the tail end of the business doing this comedy business, this stuff.
You know, it's so interesting that he said that because that is kind of what happened with me. I mean, I always wanted to do theater. I started out doing Second City in Chicago and loved it. And that was kind of how I started learning that I could really write on my feet. But I yearned to be in shows with other people. And, you know, I don't know if I stink at auditions or what, but like I couldn't get in things. And so I started creating my own material. Actually, that's how I met Lou.
Yeah.
He was one of the people who said, "You're funny."
I heard it was because you had a reputation you couldn't work with other people. I mean, I just picked that up.
I'm so demanding. You know, I want to be in things with people.
Right.
I yearn to, and Lou is one of the people in my life that's consistently put me in things with people. Yeah. So for that, I'm very grateful.
Just as an experiment. And it really didn't work.
Well, it'll be like a petri dish, you know. Can she relate? Can she block?
Yeah,
you know?
no, but it is. It's a weird. It is.
Isn't it?
It's always weird. I mean, you know, and when you sit on, I mean, as a writer, you sit on the other side, and they come in and audition, and you kind of realize over time partly how it works, which has nothing to do with the way someone could come in and be spectacular, and has nothing to do because you got 9 people, and that person is not gonna. It's a family or it's something, and it's not gonna fit. There's a puzzle that you deal with in terms of casting. I'm thrilled that you think there's a Hamlet in me, and
This is your big moment.
Literally, it was like someone electroshocked me. I'll be putting it. It's going on my resume.
Did you ever aspire to serious acting? I mean, real
No,
classical acting?
I aspired to be a playwright. That was really what I wanted to be. And that was a mistake.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
No. When I first met Lou, he was doing plays and doing, like, I wouldn't have even called it stand-up. Don't say anything. By that I mean, they were funny, rambling stories. Yeah. And it was very unique at the West Bank Cafe in Midtown Manhattan. Mm-hmm. There was this wonderful theater space. Steve Olson owns it, and Lou and Rusty McGee and Rand Forster just created this really great, safe space to create all kinds of things. So that's how I knew you, and it was like the two sides of Lou, the serious, twisted playwright, and then the seriously twisted man on stage rambling and screaming.
Yeah,
you know?
It was, but I really did. I really started. I wrote one act. I'd had a really successful play when I was in college. That actually we did it. We got the Arts Council down there when I was still in school to fund a tour of it. And everything about it, and I'll never forget it, everything about it, I was sitting in the audience one night, and it would get standing ovations and all of this. I was 22. I sat with a friend, and I said, this is as good as it's ever going to be. I'm done. It's never going to be better. It doesn't matter if it's Broadway. It doesn't matter where I am. This is why you do this, and nothing will ever be. This doesn't happen every time. Well, now it's just going to be.
But that wasn't right. There've been good things since.
No, there've been.
Talk to me.
There've
Tell
been,
me.
there've been some nice things.
What was the name of the play, by the way? That first play.
The name of that play was called Feast.
Oh, a revival's coming on. I can feel it right now.
Yeah, when they're looking for those 60s plays.
Now, I want to ask you guys, you are, when you're starting out in the business, you're not making any money, right? You're not getting paid to be at the West Bank doing this kind of stuff.
That doesn't change, actually, as time goes on.
But I was going to ask you, there's always got to be a moment in a career like yours where suddenly somebody pays you more money than you've been paid for everything else. Do you remember in your lives that line that you suddenly crossed and thought, wow, I am actually earning money for doing this?
Well, for me, it was when I did television the first time, when I did trying to. Oh, no, you know what? Actually, no. Before that, the first time I got a check and I knew I was able to make a living by acting was when I did this wild little off-Broadway play called Mayor, about Mayor Koch.
War on Life.
And Mayor was fun, and it was a really great experience. But what was even more fun than Mayor was doing this free show after that Warren wrote at the West Bank called Oh You Hostage. Yeah. This was when hostages could be funny.
Right.
At that wonderful, the salad days of terrorism.
Terrorist jokes. But you got that check from
Yeah,
Mayor.
that
Remember
was
how much that
wild.
check, what were they paying you?
Oh my gosh! So this was off Broadway, and we were at the Village Gate, and I think it was $400 a week before taxes and deductions. But I was able to live, and it's a very heady thing.
And Louis, when did you become a multimillionaire?
Oh, boy. Really, it was when I began my first heroin sales.
Oh no!
I was able to set
no,
up something
no,
in my
no,
apartment.
no,
and,
no.
And then we put on small shows, puppet shows.
You took the drug money, invested it into show business. That's
The thing that first came to mind was I did Hannah and Her Sisters.
Oh.
Right.
And we had I had like 3 weeks on that movie, which was for me. I mean, I probably made in the 3 weeks what I made. I made more in the 3 weeks than I made in probably the two years before. I mean, I was not making. I was stone cold broke until I was 40, and this really was the first kind of like, oh, and then the best, because I didn't really understand it, was I did the movie, and then and then the movie came out, it was gone from my mind, and then all of a sudden I wake up one day, and I'm like, and I've got to go see a dentist, right? And this is the way it always works when you're broke. I've got to see a dentist, and I have no cash to do that. And I go downstairs, and there's a residual check. And I'm like dancing around. It's like, hey, yes, I got it. I've triumphed. But it always happens. The way it works is you usually the way it works is the check comes, and you get all excited, and then you go upstairs, and they call, and the dentist calls and goes, well, you're going to have to come in, and we'll just take that check. It's like they watched me pick the check up.
You know what's sad? And the other thing is because I haven't done movies in a long time, is when you do get one in the mail and it's so exciting and you dance upstairs and you open it up, and I actually save these checks when it's for 4 cents. I mean, that they took the time to issue you a check and put the damn stamp on, and it's for you know what?
Yeah,
it's so sad.
I love Hannah and Sisters, but I have no memory of you in that movie at all.
Well, that was because it was a breakthrough. I'm transformational. I really did. I played.
You're one of the. It was one of the assistants to Woody Allen, right?
And my hair was really, really long. It's an unbelievable scene. Christian Clemens is in that scene. John Turturro is in that
Julia
scene.
Louis-Dreyfus.
J.T. Walsh was in that scene. You watch. None of us, I think, had a job. It ever really had a job. Everybody was just coming to New York. And it's like, bam, bam. And that's the whole scene. Every one of those people goes on to an unbelievable career in film, and I just happened to go into a basement again. It sent me right back to the basement. It was not a breakthrough. But it was great.
Remember, you really raised the bar in the basement. It was like the big cheese in the basement.
Yeah, really.
I want to ask you guys something, because you've been performers in the city a long time, and you have seen how this city has changed. And I'm working on a book now about Broadway in the late 60s and 70s, when the industry was in trouble and New York was in trouble. But it seems to me that when you could afford to live in this city for a reasonable amount of money, you could attract people such as yourselves who weren't making any money. This city is now Beverly Hills.
Oh my
you worry
God.
that's going to kill the kind of arts and culture and world that you guys came up in?
Well, I hate to say it because in a way, I don't like to feel old enough to have been there when things were the way they were, but I am, and yeah, I mean, plays and musicals cost so much to produce, and there seems to be this need to put, you know, big stars in leads, and I don't begrudge them. Some of them came from the theater, some didn't, and that's pretty stinky. But you know, and then ticket prices are really, really, really expensive, and as you said, you can't live. I don't live in Manhattan anymore. I live in Weehawken.
And you're successful.
Well, thank you. Well, yes, I am, and I am. Michael, and let me just think about that and throw it over to Lou and just sort of
No, but you are.
marinate
You-
in
I
that.
mean,
but you know what?
Your voice is.
That's how I don't
That's
make my.
true. You're an iconic voice.
Yeah.
Thank
You're a
you.
commentator
Thank
on
you.
CBS.
Talk to your doctor. Yes.
And
but you know, the kind of creative atmosphere that we had at the West Bank, that's not really around in the same
don't
way
you
Well,
think
anymore.
that,
well, there
don't you
is-
think that's off in Brooklyn and around, that's
that's
still
what I
around
think
with
is
young
happening.
people?
It's huge.
Yeah.
No, it is.
Yeah, it's in the outer boroughs
Yeah.
more, I think.
Eugene, I know in terms of stand-up, it's like it's all over the place. Eugene Meerman, who's a great, has been running this thing for 5 years out of this in Brooklyn, in nowhere Brooklyn, and now all those places in Brooklyn which had no names have names.
Right.
The Upright Citizens Brigade really has survived, and people go in there and rotate and do shows, and I don't even know there is that, and now so the kids are forced to move further out.
Right. But don't you think
But
that
the kids keep coming, and they're
Yeah,
going to
but
keep
wait,
working.
I have an abiding faith that in the idealism of young people to do theater no matter what, and it really is, and it gives me such joy when I watch someone my age with the same kind of bright face coming in here to do it and knowing that they too will get it in the teeth just as hard. I can't tell you what's doing that.
I was going to say, this better be going in that direction.
I'm just gonna throw up.
Going to be. I'm so bitter. I haven't gotten the best one. I'm sick of them. Get out of my way. I don't want you here. Go. You know.
It's why I do theater
I
benefits.
understand.
I'm going to keep them rolling as long as I can. I go out on the road to stand up, and you want to check? Keep it running. Keep it going.
Come to New York to make your living.
Oh my God.
All right, guys, let's turn you into critics just for a minute, because I know you love the theater so much. You're always there. Louis, there's an interesting new play called The Columnist with John Lithgow about a very powerful political columnist who's been forgotten, Joseph Alsop. Now, I know you're a student of politics and love politics. What do you know about Alsop?
I know that he was I know that he was really and the reason I know it was because one of the reasons I kind of have some real sense of who he is because I was born and raised around Washington, D.C.
Right.
And he
was a big cheese.
And he was a big cheese there, and he was one of those guys. Basically, you don't call. I wouldn't call him a conservative columnist. He was kind of like he was like a Walter Winchell. A mean spirit, even more mean-spirited than Walter Winchell about politicians, and nasty. And there was a time when, which doesn't exist now, sadly, where you had guys, you had columns in the Post and really around the country of guys who were muckrakers, who basically kind of...
Evans and Novak, remember those guys?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. And Evans and Novak were a cut above. Joseph Alsop was just unreal. So I always kind of remember him as like, a scary. Just,
Because in this play, it deals with a real issue in his life, which was he went to the Soviet Union in the 1950s, and he was gay, and he had
Who was sleeping with him? Who's going to sleep with Joseph Alsop? I mean, I saw him.
That is so unjust.
No, it's
As a single
unbelievable.
woman, I'm offended.
No, I'm
I can't
offended.
take
I
it.
mean, it's unbelievable.
He had a guy friend. He had a boyfriend.
How?
I don't know. And in the 50s.
How would what?
Well, here's what happened. So he goes to the Soviet Union. He's in Moscow, and he picks up this cute young Russian Cossack, I guess. They go off and they have a tryst, and the KGB calls him into the office, and they show him the pictures, and they're going to blackmail him. And he walks right over to the American embassy, and he says, "I'm being blackmailed." So now he's become a hero because he didn't submit to gay blackmail, Louis. How do you feel about that now?
Wow, it still bothers me.
But he had a boyfriend.
That really, it does. It
What
bothers
did the
me.
pictures look like?
So it makes sense. So the Russians sent a guy to kind of do this stuff because nobody's doing this for free. Nobody. And I'm sorry, I will not apologize. It's like Gingrich and two women. Really, in my lifetime?
Can we just talk about that? That's theater to me. That's just really, no, Gingrich, Giuliani, that these guys, these really icky, horrible conservatives get dames. Is power that corrupt? Are they that
Or that's seductive?
Or that's seductive? I mean,
Well, I know stand-up comedy ain't.
Oh, come on now,
No, it's
Lou.
not. No.
Come on, you
No,
guys always
when
do
you wish
well.
upon
Give
a
me
star.
break.
No, it doesn't
Give me a
happen.
break.
Doesn't
You
happen.
do too.
No, not too. No.
Joseph Alsop had better luck than Louis Blackford.
Exactly. But I'm going to Russia next week.
All right, baby.
On the basis of that story.
All right, Nancy, it's your turn to be a critic. I know there's a play that won the Pulitzer Prize last year that's getting a lot of attention on Broadway now, Clybourne Park.
I saw it and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think what I really loved as much as the play is the audience and how they reacted. And I've told jokes about the differences between, I don't know if you know about this, Louis, white audiences and black audiences. Yeah. Sometimes when white audiences are seeing very important plays with black characters, they get very quiet, because they're seeing a black play. And with black audiences, they'll be like, go girl, whatever. And in this one, the white audiences and the black audiences were kind of like, whoa, whoa, It's wonderful.
What's it about? What's it
Okay,
getting at?
so the first part of the play takes place in 1959, and we're actually in the house that the characters from A Raisin in the Sun are going to move into. Right. This black family moving to a predominantly white neighborhood in Chicago. And there's a family that's living there. We sort of hear a little bit about their story. There's a maid, there's her husband. Certain things come on, and one character from A Raisin in the Sun who's trying to stop the sale, he's the one that is carried across.
The white guy.
The white guy.
The white neighborhood, don't let these black people in.
So we sort of see the flip side of what this family is going to be walking into and the kind of like a scary situation. Cut to the second act, 50 years later, it's turned into a predominantly black neighborhood, right. And a white family is moving in and sort of gentrifying, which is a word I've always hated. There's got to be a better way to describe that, but I guess there's not. And they're facing their own set of circumstances about the race flipping, the character of the neighborhood flipping over. Right. It's brilliant. Bruce Norris, is that the player? It's the best piece of theater I've seen to provoke a real conversation about race, like Louis and I always have.
Yes.
We're always talking about race.
Well, I can't remember what color I am.
Yeah, right. I wore the black and white just as a reminder. Just to help you.
Cue ebony and ivory.
What a horrible song. And I really always loved Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney. What were they thinking?
That was just like the most condescending kind of
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Racial hearing. Sort of song.
Yeah.
Louis, any plays that you've seen lately out there that you're interested
No.
in?
Why?
I have a rich, full life.
Now, Louis, you're going on.
My life is a play.
You're going to be, you're going on a theater cruise.
The play
Don't push
right?
that yet. Yo, boy,
Oh,
you
come
want.
on.
So now you're doing cruise ships now, right? Is that's
My career is moving, and that's why I can't go out and do. I've got a lot of stuff happening outside. I actually don't remember. I really don't remember the last thing I saw, which is sad. But I liked it.
But you're coming back to Broadway yourself in the fall, we hope.
Yeah.
with your one-man show. Is this? Are you going on the cruise ship to sort of? Is this your out-of-town trial? You're testing?
No. This will be afterwards. This will be my out-of-town vacation.
And you're going on Rosie O'Donnell's cruise ship, am I?
No.
You're going on the
Was
Love
that a
Boat?
rumor you were
No,
trying to
that's
start?
really spectacular. I literally panic went through my soul. Louis Black in A Night of 1,000 Lesbians. I'm here to entertain you. Thank you. Wow. No, I'm going to be on. What can I say? And then there'll be notes and they'll write stuff. Not only you don't go to the theater, but that thing you said about lesbians.
I know.
It's extraordinary. But no, it's a Playbill's cruise.
Oh, Playbill. I'm sorry.
Yeah, which is kind of still.
All right, we got 3 minutes left. Let's switch to
Politics.
Let's switch to politics. Exactly. All right.
Theater.
I know precisely. Now, if you were advising Mitt Romney on how to just loosen up a little bit and to tell a joke, have you noticed that Mitt Romney has a hard time with the rhythm of a joke?
It's not only Mitt Romney. It really is all conservatives. Their idea of humor is being nasty. like calling someone a slut
Right.
or saying something mean or saying they want to kill the president. I'm going to blow his brains out. You
I was
know,
just
Ted
kidding.
Nugent, I don't, have you met, honest to God, have you
PJ
met?
O'Rourke.
Is he really funny?
Seriously. Funny.
Okay.
And he's written a lot
Michael's
of
a
funny books.
conservative.
I'm a conservative. I'm
Oh,
hilarious.
you're funny. I'm surprised.
Dennis Miller is funny.
But he's less funny now
He's
than
less
he was.
funny as a conservative.
He was on the
But what-
I have to say, he was on the Daily Show. When you just go, okay, we're going to be funny,
He can do
then
it?
he's out of the radio.
Okay.
show.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
bam, bam. I mean, to the point
All
where
right.
John and I both thought, and it was jokes that I normally, he found a twist on stuff, and it was stuff that I would go, I don't agree with you at all, but that's funny.
Okay,
I
all
don't
right.
agree-
Well, then I stand corrected
Yeah,
because I
no.
have not found any.
There are. It's
It
a
just seems
tougher.
to be
It's
nasty.
a tougher road to hoe sometimes for them. But it is in terms of. I think conservatives can be funny. I just don't think it's tough within the realm of
Their lifestyle?
politics.
politics.
Because there's a sense that there's no empathy.
That's
with
right.
and
that's
the
right.
problem.
I
And-
mean, for instance, for Mitt Romney, I might say listen to some soul music or something, just to literally loosen him up. But you saw that "Who Let the Dogs Out" moment where he was like "woof woof" with a bunch of black kids. It's bad. It's really bad.
And as Gail Collins continues to point out, and is his laugh. And that's freakish at best. As my friend says, John Bowman, H-E-H-E-H-E.
All right, but listen, I guess I don't think Obama's the funniest guy in the world, frankly.
He doesn't, but he's
But
more
he's got-
relaxed about
yeah.
the delivery.
And the delivery and the timing and the ease with it, I think,
And
really.
you know where else, just to defend, and I can't believe I'm sitting here defending conservative humorists.
Yeah, what the hell, Lou?
But no,
What?
William F. Buckley was seriously funny.
Well,
was
okay,
fun,
he was
brilliant.
funny.
Buckley, but these are people, anyone who basically
But there
is
were
someone that
some
one could-
empathetic
but
conservatives.
you also have to have someone who is conservative thought.
Yes.
I get that. I mean, that
I
I
understand.
fully understand.
Yeah.
But and those guys.
We're not seeing a lot of guys like that.
No,
these
what we're
days.
Well,
seeing
that's
is
inspiring.
what we're seeing is quack quack. It's like what?
But you know the great William F. Buckley line when he ran for mayor, and they asked him, "What will you do, Mr. Buckley, if you win?" And he said, "Demand a recount." That's funny.
That is funny.
That's fun. And Ronald Reagan was funny too.
Reagan
Ronald
was
Reagan.
funny.
He was funny. He
And,
was
and,
funny.
and so was Barry Goldwater.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goldwater was funny.
He actually was. I saw that documentary, Mr. Conservative. He's a riot.
He was a riot.
He's a laugh a minute.
He was a laugh a minute.
It sounds-
But we would have been in some sort of inferno under his
politically,
leadership.
but we'd have been laughing.
Oh,
all
I
the
know.
way.
Yeah, as soon as we were watching the city
He
of
was
New
for
York
gays
burn
in the
down.
military, though. He had a
No,
grandson
but
that- no,
he.
That was funny. Now I gotta end it, but I have to say, I know you guys,
funny.
I know you guys are both on the left, but the way you are extolling these conservatives,
not on the left.
are you moving to the right?
No,
on
I'm
the-
No,
not.
I'm in the middle.
I'm way left, but
I'm
I
in the middle.
Who are you in the
appreciate.
Back
middle with,
off.
Louis?
I'm in the middle.
Who's in the middle also? Who else?
Nobody.
Oh.
I'm it. I'm
You're in your own
directly
middle.
in the
You're an
middle.
island.
I'm in the middle. There's not a lot.
But
And
now-
it would
I'm
be nice. What I really believe
Yes.
is psychotic in terms of politics.
Right.
Really off the charts. What I believe in terms of the United States and the way in which we live and what we have to become, it's the middle. There's no denying it. There's no discussion of it. You have to get people to sit down. You take X amount of ideas from they have to negotiate. I don't want to hear what they have to say anymore. I have no interest in it. You go and do that. When we elect somebody to the student council, are we hoping that they'll come back and have a discussion about what the prom float's going to be? I don't think so. That's why we elect these sons of bitches.
I know.
So that they can go into a room and then they can come out and go, here's the compromise.
I will say this. I think things have gotten so messed up that personally, I want to get more involved in politics. I mean, I've been on the Screen Actors Guild Board of Directors for 9 years, and not Reagan. I'm not trying to run for president, but I'm getting tired of friends of mine on the progressive end who sit and whine and talk about things not happening fast enough.
Right.
There's this kind of Veruca Salt mentality. I want it now, and no one is willing to put in any time to get things done.
Yeah.
So I'm inspired by that. So
And I'm inspired the fact that I'm going to be on Rosie's cruise. And I will turn some minds and hearts.
oh man, see, you comedians, you
Well,
can do it.
yeah, I'm
man.
looking for
That's
change.
your audience.
All right, Nancy, what have you got coming up?
Well, I'm still a contributor on CBS News Sunday morning.
Yes,
So I'm always-
an island, by the way, of sophistication and
It is
culture.
a great show.
Yeah.
Thank you. And actually, I've been on it now 10 years, which is another mind spinner. It's
And
a
I
little
like
bit-
the idea of you going into politics.
I want to. I think
right.
it could be fun.
And Louis, when you finish the cruise ship circuit and you start doing professional things again, what is it that you're working on?
But no, this summer we have One Slight Hitch in Seattle.
Right.
Starring, but amazingly enough, is one of the actresses. This is a great story. It was Marianne Owen, who was an actress who came out of Yale. I went to school with her. I've known her for 35 years. So she, when I wrote the play, would have been one of the younger sisters and is now the mother. In the play, and that'll give you. And let's end on a moment of mortality, because if you really want to get a sense of being mortal, is just hang around the theater for 35 years.
Oh, yeah.
Go from playing the daughter to the mother.
Go from playing the daughter to the mother, and you go, wow. I hope there is a healthcare plan.
I'm afraid, Louis, your Hamlet may have passed you, but I'm looking forward to your King Lear. Nancy Giles, Louis Black, you guys are terrific. You're welcome on Theater Talk anytime. Thanks a
Be
lot.
back next week.
Thank you.
You can sign up for viewer updates at theatertalk.org.
Or you can Twitter us. Our thanks to the Friends of Theater Talk for their significant contribution to this production. Theater Talk is made possible in part by the Frederick Lowe Foundation, the Eleanor Naylor Dana Charitable Trust, the Alan S. Gordon Foundation, the Corey and Bob Donnelly Charitable Fund, Carrie J. Fries, the Dorothy Strelson Foundation, the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, and the New York State Council on the Arts, a state agency.
We welcome your questions or comments for Theater Talk. Thank you and good night.